Hello, and on this episode of the Inventive Marketing Club, I'm going to be looking at how to create an amazing YouTube channel. And I'm going to do so in the medium of YouTube. Now, I know quite a lot about YouTube, but there are some amazing YouTubers out there who know a lot more than me. So what I'm going to do in this video is I've got a few videos that I've looked at, gleaned some of the ideas from it, and I'm going to share with you, along with my own top tips, what I feel is going to help you create an amazing YouTube channel. So we're going to look at everything from coming up with a great idea to planning out your shot list. So I'm basing a lot of my advice out of some of the tips I gleaned from here. This is a video by John Dorman on how to create a killer YouTube video and, in parenthesis, blow up your channel. Now, it's a really good video, but there's a few core concepts that I want to highlight. The first one is having a great idea. The next is the title and the thumbnail, and that actually is incredibly important. And the pacing, so editing it so it's not boring. And we're going to walk through these together. So the first thing to look at is having a great idea. Now, there's another video here that I'm going to share from Hillier Smith. It's called 5 More Editing Mistakes YouTubers Do That I Hate. I love these titles, by the way. And what he's talking about here is there's nothing wrong with finding someone else's work that you like and taking some ideas from it, stealing those ideas, but making it your own. And that's the example he's got here. Someone seeing a shot on Instagram they like and then trying to recreate that themselves. If nothing else, it gives us a good way to learn and get better at our craft, get better at creating videos. And then as you start to do that, you'll start to come up with your own ideas. Now, here's some examples. He's got new films where they're taking ideas from older films, and this is happening again and again. You can even see it in the Star Wars films when they remade them. They took a lot of the elements from the older ones and redid them in a more modern style. So there's nothing wrong with appreciating someone else's work and seeing how you could put your own spin on it. So start with what you love and copy that. Another area you can look into is answering questions. The internet is full of people answering questions. There's FAQs galore. Many of them are pretty bad, to be fair. So if you can actually find a subject that you either know a lot about or you can learn about, hopefully it's related to your business, then you can create video, you can create content online that is going to be tailored around questions that people are already asking on YouTube or Google. So Answer the Public is something I always recommend. It's a great site, answerthepublic.com. It's completely free to use. If you sign in, you can get a few more searches. Otherwise, it's a bit limited each month, but you don't need to pay for it. I've given an example here. Say I've got a shop that sells running shoes. So I want content around that, questions that people are asking. I can just put in the key phrase running shoes, scroll down to these beautiful little, I don't know, diagrams here that they've got. And it's got loads of questions relating to this keyword search or that feature that keyword search. And all of these questions have come from Google. People are asking these on Google. So they scrape all those questions and present them in this way for us. So here's a couple of examples. Will running shoes stretch over time? Good to know for some people. Why running shoes are so expensive? That's a good one. There's which running shoes are illegal? Fab questions here. And there's lots of sensible ones about which sports, different running shoes, are running shoes useful for playing tennis and that sort of thing. So you get a really good idea of what people are asking, and it may be that you can create a video for each one of these questions, or you can combine them together into one video. So this is a really good place to start for any content on your site. Key thing to do, though, is make sure that whatever you're creating is interesting or fun. Make it remarkable in some way so that people will comment, give feedback, or share it with other people. Because otherwise, you're just putting more content out onto the internet. So try and find some point of difference, some way of differentiating it and making it your own. Okay, moving on. And this is an important one, and you probably see it a lot on YouTube, and it's to think about the thumbnail that you actually have of the video and the title. Let me show you this. It's a little clip from this video from Marcus Jones where they're interviewing Mr. Beast. Now, if you don't know Mr. Beast, and I don't know him very well, but my kids do watch some of his videos, he is, I'd say, a YouTube genius, really. He makes not only a lot of money from it, but creates good videos that compel people. They're not my sort of videos, but his ideas are great. And he's got a lot to say on engagement and understanding how people use YouTube. Now, one of the questions he was asked is about thumbnails and titles. And the key thing he says is if people don't click, they don't watch. And it's so true. If people aren't going to be interested in your thumbnail, it doesn't matter how great your content is or your video, they're just not going to watch it. So having that thumbnail and title pair working really well together is essential. Now, I'm going to just give you an example of what's coming up in our feed at the moment. So I'm just logged in as Rather Inventive. And we can see there's probably some thumbnails here that are going to jump out to you more than others. And I would say generally it's going to be the thumbnails that feature people. Because faces are things that we recognize. They're things our brains are very good at honing in on. So I think some of the best combinations here are where you've got, for example, this one, getting over a breakup. We've got a friendly face and some clear text that sits over the top of that. This one, AI film news. We've got a face from an AI generated bit of video on there with some reasonably clear text sat over the top. And so this is just what's coming up in our selection here. Let's look at a couple of really big hitters when it comes to YouTubers. We've got MKBHD. He does a lot of tech reviews and reporting, very well known, certainly in the Mac area, which is what I'm interested in, Mac and Apple and all that sort of stuff. So he interviews lots of products, and you can see here from his thumbnails, again, they're featuring him. He's a very key part of that. A lot of facial expressions to maybe go along with the title he's got here. I particularly like this one, actually. It's the thumbnail, the worst product I've ever reviewed for now. There's a lot going on in here. He's not got the text of, or the title of the YouTube video in the actual thumbnail himself. He's just got an interesting picture of him maybe looking a bit sniffy about this product. It's showing one of the key features of this product, which is the projector, and the price, which is quite big for a device like this. It's just meant to replace your phone. And then that pairs with the title, the worst product I've ever reviewed for now. So that's given a little caveat there. And I think that's one of the key bits of advice learned for if you're creating really engaging thumbnails and titles, is to pair them together. They don't need to say exactly the same thing, but they need to work together. And I think that's important. I think where possible, always try and feature the subject or try and intrigue people a little bit. So have something where they're like, oh, I wonder what that image means. I wonder what more is behind that. But do remember to make sure that whatever expectation you are setting up to intrigue people or interest people, you've got to deliver on that. And I find there's so many videos on YouTube where they don't. You know, the screenshot in the thumbnail that they have or the image that's in there just doesn't deliver. You just don't see that in the video. And it's very frustrating. So do make sure that however fantastic and amazing your thumbnail is, you've got to show that and deliver it pretty quickly, I'd say the first 5 seconds or so of your video. Here's another one from Mr. Beast. We'll quickly flick through these. He put some amazing thumbnails together. Usually it's him with a big grin like this one here. You can see it's just featuring him doing some, you know, very well composited videos, frankly. And then another one on Minecraft. So this is more my my boys level, although to be honest, they're past this now. Again, same sort of thing. A lot of faces in there, or Minecraft faces, text over the top. We can see that really you don't want to leave it down to YouTube to make the thumbnail. You don't want the thumbnail to be too complicated, and you do want the title and thumbnail to work together. They're the sort of broad bits of advice. Okay, moving on. We're going to look at scripting. So again, I'm going back to John's video. And in here, he's talking about lots of things, really useful ways of structuring your script and actually doing quite a professional job. But the key things he talks about are, certainly when you come into educational videos, is the 3 questions. And those are, what do people need to do? How should they feel to take action? And what do they need to know and do to make sure that they're taking the action you want them to take. So if you can understand those things and note them down first, then you're going to create a video which is going to have more compelling reason for people to take action. He also outlines a way, if you're creating a more entertaining video, it's something similar. You need that big idea. You need to understand how people feel and then outline how those are going to work together. But key things that he talks about in here that to pull out of that is you must have a great hook and intro. So once people have clicked past the thumbnail, then they're in the video, and you want to hook them within that first 5 seconds, because if not, they're going to drop out and move away. And really, if you want to blow up your channel, you need people to watch your videos all the way through, because the more views you have and the longer those views are, the more the algorithm will favor your video. So you really want to keep people hooked. Again, not artificially, you want great content, and that's the reason they're staying. But if you've got good content, you kind of want to show some of it at the beginning to hook people in. Something I see quite a common idea is to, if you've got something that happens, so someone who's got an experiment or they're creating something, then you show some of that end experiment or the object they've created at the beginning, a little glimpse to tease people, to show people what they're going to get. And then you can almost go back to the beginning and start telling the story. As long as it's engaging and just the right amount of time, you will keep people engaged long enough to see the payoff at the end. So yeah, hook and intro, really important. Something I find a lot with a lot of clients, they put this on there, which is their logo and a really slow intro with the title again. No one cares. People want to watch the video. They've clicked on your thumbnail, they've seen the title, they know hopefully roughly what the video is about. Just get straight into it. And if you've got people, I would feature them first, because looking at stats of various videos, I find that video of people in the first 5 seconds makes a huge difference as to how long they're going to stay. I said this before in the thumbnail section, I'm going to say it again because it's really important. You've got to deliver on your thumbnail. Whatever you've set up in there, make sure you deliver it. So think about it in that in your script. Make sure you write that in. Now, one of the notes that, one of the sort of tips that John brings out here, I think it had it in one of his images of his script, is you write your script on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you jot down notes of the screenshots you're going to need, the clips of video, stock video if you're using that, or any shots if you're going and doing something on site. And you note those down next to the script so you can see what visuals you'll need. It's a really good idea of building up a shot list effectively, so you start to understand whether you need to go out and use video or whether you can create the graphics yourself. So talking of shot lists, let's move on to filming. So in this example from John, he's just looking at someone who is demonstrating how you can shoot great video with just a standard mobile phone camera. But one of the key things they did is they're not just telling people about what they need to do, but they are demonstrating it, they're showing it, and that is going to come across a lot more interesting than just doing a head and shoulders like I'm doing here. But hopefully we're going to mix my head and shoulders with some of the visuals that I'm showing you, so it's a lot more interesting. So key thing to do once you've got your filming is you capture all the shots that you need from your shot list that has been built up from your script, or you create content. And you want to make sure all of that links back with how you want people to feel, what you want them to do, and what you want them to know. And if you link all those things together, then you should have all the material you need to move on to editing. So in editing, the key thing from John's video is pacing. You don't want to be boring. So I'm giving you an example here from a video from Max Anderson, Master Flow and Pacing in Your Videos. And key thing, pacing. I think one of the key ways to know whether you've got the pacing right is once you've created a quick rough cut of your video, is to just rewatch it. Maybe put it onto your phone or your iPad or something like that, and just watch it as if you were a viewer of your website. And if you start to lose focus, if you look up to see where the scrubber bar is, it's starting to lose pace. It's starting to feel a little bit long. And so you really want to start thinking about reducing some of the things that are uninteresting. So cutting out ums, ers, and so on like that. Things that are quite natural, if that feels right. Maybe just cutting out a huge section if that's just not grabbing you. Don't leave it in there just because it might be interesting. It might have taken a lot of work to do, but if it's not interesting to people, you want to cut that out. So really think about cutting out dead space to keep that pacing going. Something I found quite useful when it comes to pacing is to just put in some music. Maybe find some of your favorite music, put that in first, and then edit to that track. What I found is, even if you can't use that track, maybe it's a commercial track that you don't have a license to use, you will have some rough pacing in there because you're working to what's already there. If you were to put in another track, usually I found in my experience doing this, it actually fits usually pretty well, and you may only need to move around your edits a little bit. But I find for me choosing music the hardest thing to do, and sometimes I need to do that once I've put the video together. So I then need to then go and find the right music that's going to fit that. And it may be that you've got a couple of different tracks in there. But generally, if you can edit to music to begin with, whatever the music is, as long as it's roughly right, then if you slip in another track, it's going to work. So, we'd use Envato Elements for that, and maybe slip in some drum and bass, a bit like this.
Audio Jungle.
Something that can build excitement. And so that's it. I found John's video really useful in terms of honing down on the things that are really important. And it all comes down to a great idea, the title and the thumbnail and the interplay they have, and pacing. And just thinking about those three key things. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but just thinking about those three key things is going to help improve every single one of your videos. But you know what the key thing is? It's just to start. It's just to try. If you are new to producing video, you aren't going to be very good to begin with. I certainly am not, and I'm always getting better. There's always more to learn. But if you don't start, you'll never begin your journey to improving what you do over a period of time. So I just want to say thank you very much for watching this episode of the Inventive Marketing Club. I hope you like the style. You can learn more and find great episodes, or you can join us at ratherinventive.com/club. That's ratherinventive.com/club. Thank you. Bye for now.